Welcome to Grey County Life on Rogers TV. I'm one of your hosts, Rhonda Brown.
And I'm Mary J. Murray, and this is your favorite lifestyle magazine show on Rogers TV. And we have actually one of my very favorite people on the show to start off with. Today we have Arlene Wright from Zonta, but she's one of my favorite people for a very different reason. Oh. But
we go back a long way.
So we're going to open the show with you as our special guest to tell us about Zonta, because this is, when I did research on this, this is an amazing organization.
You know, Mary Jane, it really is. I brought this book. It's Zonta International, the voice of Zonta International. We're in 63 countries in the world, and you know, very few people know about us. We've been in Owen Sound for 37 years. We had our 35th anniversary, and we have 17 members, wonderful people. But the work we do is not well known, but what we try to do is make women's lives better. And so today, I just actually, while I was sitting out in your lounge, approved as one member, gave my vote for approval to support buying a van for a woman who is very crippled up and needs a wheelchair van. So we're going to, I don't know whether we'll do it, but my vote is for supporting her, and I'm sure the other women will too, to help her get around. But this is what we do, and it's not very well known, some of the things that we do.
Well, I was so impressed because you support local, regional, and international projects to improve the quality of life for women and their families. And you have raised over $70,000 for some of these. It's close to 90 now. Wow.
Yes, that's through our golf tournament, which is coming up June 15th. At Legacy Ridge. Ooh. And we are starting at 5:30 at night, 9 holes, and then a 3-course sit-down dinner. Ooh. So this is our major fundraiser for the year. You know, we've got a few spots left, but we're doing very well.
So who would we contact if we wanted to golf on that day?
Well,
and
they can call me. They can call me.
Okay.
And I'm in the phone book, so anybody can call me, or they know where to find me. Yep. Or Legacy Ridge. They can call Legacy Ridge because they'll help them get in touch with the golf team.
Is there a registration on your website?
It is. Okay. It's on our website.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Sometimes people are more comfortable doing that. They'll just go to the website and click on registration for your golf tournament.
That's right. Yeah. So just getting back to the Zonta then, I should tell you that we are a signatory to the United Nations. Oh, yes. Zonta International was one of the signatories when they signed the International Pact. And so every year there's a group goes down to United Nations and celebrates the Women's Day. But by making women's lives better, we make entire families better. So this is sort of the thing. This year, one of our projects is talking about the climate change and how women can get involved in furthering climate change and what we can do to do that. So we're working with some of the local women here in Owen Sound to make that, try and see what we can do to help it move in the city and follow up on what is being done.
Is it a Christian group? Is it affiliated with a particular church or anything like that? It's just an independent group.
It's just you could say we're the feminine side of Rotary, but we're not affiliated with Rotary at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I went on the website and I looked at the list of organizations that support women that you donate to, it was amazing. I think you covered just about every organization, women's organization, like the women's shelters and, in our community. And then you also do things that are regional and international as well.
We do. We have As a matter of fact, Tim Nichols Harrison's daughter, Hannah,
Yes.
was one of our award winners. And Hannah, our club sponsored her, and she went all the way to the finalists and won quite a prize, a significant prize, dollar prize. And we were so proud of her. And so Hannah is sort of an honorary member of our Zonta Club.
Wow.
Now she's living over in Scotland now, but when Hannah comes home, she comes to our meeting. We just love to have her.
Yeah.
And Hannah, I say there's one of the products of our Zonta Club, but Hannah comes, of course, a product of her wonderful family too.
Yes,
But she's a lovely young woman.
She is. How often do you meet?
We meet every month at the third Wednesday of every month at Stone Tree, and we have a dinner meeting. We certainly are welcoming new members. Anyone that wishes to have an interest in it. I know that we're finished now until September, of course. Although our actions are ongoing, we'll still be working through the summer, but we won't be having any meetings until September, formal meetings until September. The group meetings.
And so what is really interesting is how detailed your website is. So if people are really interested from this interview and want to learn more about Zonta, they can go to your website.
They can go to our Zonta website. We are definitely there. And we've had a walk-in at our meeting from our website. One of our new members, found that the website was interesting. She thought she'd like to see what we did, and so she joined us, and that was great. We have another potential member coming in September, and we have created some interest.
Yeah.
Love to have new people come, of course, and you're entitled to come and have a look at us for a couple of meetings. You don't have to. You're not forced to join or anything like that. There are fees that you pay, but to International to join, and headquarters is in Chicago, and our president is from Germany, Ute Schultz. She's a lovely woman. Our conference is going to be in Australia this year.
Oh, wow.
In 2024, coming up.
Yeah. Wow.
It'd be exciting.
Sounds like a good group to get involved with. So we really appreciate it. We appreciate, Arlene, you coming in to let us know all things Zonta. And Wednesday evenings, people, you need to be at Stone Tree. We'll look it up on the website.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
It was our 35th anniversary. To celebrate, we were on our way to Mama Rosie's, where we had our first date. That's when we heard coming from the radio. So we stopped and listened. It helped us get to safety. So when I think of our anniversary, because now we have even more to celebrate.
$6,423 missing threads.
One for every hate-fueled protest and social post.
From just the first 3 months of 2023.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV. We have a special guest for a special month in Grey Bruce.
I know there's so many things that are happening in June, but one of the real highlights of that is the Pride Parade. Yeah. And I am so pleased to introduce Rachel Patterson, who is the spokesperson for Grey Bruce Pride, to tell us about all the events that are happening with the Pride the Pride Parade, because it's now not just a little tiny event, now it's expanded out into the community, which is such a welcoming addition to our community. So thank you for taking the time, Rachel, because you are one busy person.
Thanks for having me.
We were talking about your title and how you've been the chair at one point. You don't have that working title anymore, but all the responsibility of it.
A little bit, yeah, sometimes. But with regards to the Owen Sound Pride Parade, I sit as co-chair, so I also have Caitlin Curry, who's also our homelessness response supervisor at the county. So we definitely have some heavy roles that we manage, but we are just really passionate about this and volunteering within our community as well too. But both of us are transplants here, so coming here was a bit of a shock. So for us, it's about making that visibility and making safe spaces for people currently living here or youth that are growing up here, so that way they've got a safe space and they know that they're welcomed within community.
Well, I think that's really important, because it it makes our community more vibrant, more inclusive, and more understanding of others.
Yeah.
I think that. So tell us about some of the events that are coming up over the next few days.
Yeah, so you'll test me on this one because there's a lot. We actually put out a feature as well talking about all of the different events that are happening that have been compiled between private businesses, like Bonfire on Queen and Paisley has a drag show happening this week on the 10th. So we see like independent businesses that are doing that, but we also see some of the other Pride organizations that are also leading the way with that. Kincardine Pride actually has drag bingo also on the 11th over at Grey Matters Brewery. So also happening this week, we've got our Owen Sound flag raising at 9 a.m. this Friday at City Hall. We always do that with a speech as well. So again, as the appointed spokesperson, you'll get to hear my annual rant, because I get 10 minutes and I make sure to use it.
Use them all.
Anyway, so we've got that happening this week. We've also got the Bruce County Museum. They have a film screening of Take Me to Prom, and they've got the director and a panel as well. And that's happening tomorrow, I believe. Yep, the 8th. I think that's tomorrow. We've got lots of different events happening. And then, of course, leading up to the fact that next Saturday, on the 17th, both Dundalk and Owen Sound have their Pride parades. Dundalk has a dance happening at their Legion afterwards. When it comes to Owen Sound, we've got our street fair happening after our parade, and then going over to Heartwood afterwards for the Sounds Like a Drag Pride Edition, featuring our own local talent, Kit Bolter, who performs under Captain. And the previous night, we actually have an open closet event at Mowickwidong, also featuring Captain. So it's an opportunity for individuals to come in. We've got a clothing swap happening as well for people of all different body types and figures. So people can bring items in, they can take new items home. And it's also an opportunity to try out any looks. We've got a brand new sequin purple sparkly catwalk, so people can enjoy that. We've got some aspiring Owen Sound fashionistas and models that I know will be there, all decked out. And they'll also be, we've got a runway also happening at our Owen Sound Pride Parade and Street Fair happening this year as well too, so you can check them out for their looks happening there as well too. And we also have karaoke on the Friday night, again at Open Closet with Rebecca of the Arcades. So lots of stuff happening. That's always a monthly event that we do. So it's always just a great time. And we're also there as Great Bruce Pride. So there's lots of conversations about body dysmorphia or getting comfortable within your bodies, having confidence. A lot of times too, we find ourselves like hunched over, bad body posture, always hiding our bodies. So it's a lot about like opening up our bodies and learning how to take up the space that we rightfully get to deserve. So Our tongue-in-cheek theme for this year is take up space. So, and we come in peace. So, you know, we're here to just make sure that, you know, if you're a homophobe or transphobe, I really hope you have an uncomfortable pride just a little bit as you start to learn and educate. But, you know, we try and do everything with as much love as possible, and we're here to educate and help individuals. So whatever community needs to learn, we're here for. You know, that's the really big thing is we're really here for education and advocacy and trying to make sure that this is a safer space. So sometimes that's parents needing to learn how to process and grieve. There's organizations like PFLAG that are meant to help with that. Because
sorry, what was that called?
PFLAG. So it's parents, friends, and loved ones of like lesbians and gays is what PFLAG stands for. And it's no different than, you know, if something were to happen to your child, or perhaps your child's with a partner you don't want or goes in an education field you wouldn't seek for them, right? You might quietly grieve for your child, but it's about not projecting that onto the kids as well too, and how to do that. So that's part of what we're here for, and helping answer questions for parents that they might have of like, what's life going to be like for my kids? What's the next steps on how to do this? Like, no one in my family's a trans ally, how can I help stand up against them, right? Like, these are the sorts of things we're here for. So while there's tons of events happening, you know, that's our month, that's what we've been given kind of thing, but we really live it every day. So it's really just about making sure everyone's safe year round.
Well, I think it's really important to break down barriers. Barriers in terms of attitude, barriers in terms of perceptions, myths perhaps. And I think that is really because in order for our community to be embracive, inclusive, and safe, we really need to have better understanding of others in our community, our better understanding of ourselves. In terms of some of the attitudes that we grew up with, and how can we put those aside and just really embrace our children or our family members or our neighbors. I mean, we're all community neighbors. Yep. And I think that's really important. So I'm really pleased to see so many of the activities that are happening to open up. Now, you were giving me a couple of stats about last year, and one of them was you had about 500 registered for the parade, but 1,000 people came out. Yep. Like, how wonderful is that?
We have, I think it was actually expected to be about 1,500 people that were participants, but I think there was only 200 people that were bystanders. So the amount of people in the parade was so much larger. And my favorite actual thing that happened at Pride was there was Kit Bolter, who people might know as Captain, Karen Houle, and myself that were there, and then some of the other organizers also ended up joining in. But as people were rounding that corner on 8th Street headed back to the farmers market, we were just cheering them on. But it was just like droves and droves of people, because we were at the beginning, so we had no idea how many people ended up coming behind us. When we saw those photos in the Sun-Times, we were like, wait, that's what it looked like? Like, we had no idea. That is not how we saw it. Yeah. We just had like a few little people in front of us, right? Yeah. Anyways, it was just fantastic. But I just remember seeing Kit look over at us and just like tears, like happy, joyful tears pouring down their face as somebody who grew up in community, saying they just keep coming. There's just so many supporters, right? And just seeing how many people showed up, and it was just so lovely and absolutely empowering for everyone. So that's one of the things that like we've kind of set aside as this is an important thing. So all of us as the organizers, we're going to be there cheering everyone on again as they come on back. So
well, it's way more fun to be in the parade than watching it. So it's, I mean, I saw the videos and the photos of it last year, and the smiles and the joy, and well, it was just way more fun to be in the parade than standing there watching it. Nobody cared if there were crowds watching. It was just too much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to just dance down the street, rollerblade down the street. We'll always have our roller derby folks. We've already made sure that we've got our bubble guns with the batteries in it ready for them this year. One of the few missteps last year.
No batteries?
I had them somewhere, but where in a bag, I just couldn't find them.
Well, did anybody really miss that?
No.
I mean,
No.
you know,
I did internally, but that's just...
Yeah, that's,
you know, the planners know, you know, all the, perhaps the little goof ups in behind, but the general folks out there probably never even registered with them at all.
Yeah.
So tell me about registration, because you're still taking registration for the parade.
Yep. So we do ask that all vehicles get registered beforehand. We are hoping to have people register at the latest by this weekend. So we will have a cutoff time for vehicles just for safety purposes, right? But we normally always have people that will come at the very end. If you follow us on any of our social media, on Facebook or Instagram, we do have our Google form, so it's just an automatic form. You just fill in your details and hit submit, and it comes right to us, and then we will be in touch with an email telling everyone where to go, how to meet up. There's also posters, so there's a QR code, so people can just scan it with their, if you aren't familiar, it's like when you went to the restaurants at COVID and there was that weird little code on the table and you hold your camera over top of it.
And it automatically.
The camera on your phone. Not the click camera.
You know,
You're disposable.
Rachel is going through this little scenario for my benefit.
And I'm not a big fan of QR codes either. I just had to learn how to deal with them. But you just hold your phone, it's like camera over top of it, and it will automatically pop up with a link, and you just click on that link then and you fill it in. You can also just email us at graybruceprideinfo@gmail.com if you don't have Facebook or Instagram, or you're unsure how to use the QR code. Just let us know. We will be meeting at the Metro parking lot. So our parade route this year is going from Metro. That's where everyone's gathering, and we're closing down that section of the road there between 11th and 10th Street on 2nd Avenue there. So it's closing down at 2 o'clock. So we ask everybody to be there assembled no later than 2:30, and keep in mind too that that road's going to be closed right at 10th Street there. So you have to go on up over to 3rd in order to get there. And you can park at the neighboring parking lots or on the streets where you're allowed to park there. But we'll be headed down 2nd Avenue beginning at 3 o'clock, and then just going right down Main Street there, turning up 8th Street and headed right into the Farmers Market, where we'll have our street fair going on from 3 until 6 p.m. So we've got lots of vendors, we've got amazing performers. Super excited about that, and lots of info booths as well too. So if anyone's interested in where to go and get support, or looking to see what businesses are supportive and inclusive for them, they're all there too.
Now, at one point, I haven't been downtown recently, but there would be little pride flags, indicators in the windows of some of the businesses that show their support for pride, in terms of not necessarily Grey Bruce pride, but they're just a welcoming business.
So some businesses have that. We do have our Pride Lives Here signs, and we've only got maybe 50 of those left. So if anyone wants them, coming out to the parade, you can pick them up there. They're available via donation. And sometimes we see different businesses that put them up. We are making it available now, as most of us that sit on our working group are in social work. So we are putting together trainings as well for businesses or individuals if they're interested. And then it'll help further that education piece, because sometimes you'll see things in businesses, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they've been trained. And while the intention is there, it's about making sure that they actually have the knowledge. Because one of the things that we see so much is, is like that visual, like activism or perceived allyship. Not just within the queer community, but for anything, right? But it's about like making sure that it goes beyond 1 month. It's about making sure that it's part of your everyday practice, right? So we're going to be making that available as well too. And again, that's open to anyone within Grey and Bruce area.
Well, I know that one of the things I've been, particularly with my children, but my mantra is just always be kind. It's just simply because you never know the backstory of a person or what has happened in their life that day or previously, and I think that just always be kind.
Yep. Yep, that's really what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah. It's actually one of the principal like practices of those that are Two-Spirit as well too. So we're actually very fortunate in this area to have a very large like Two-Spirit community. We're seeing a great resurgence of that and like the recognition that goes along with it as well too. And we actually have the 3rd annual Georgian Bay Two-Spirit Powwow, which will be happening at Mawikwidong this year on August 5th from 12 till 6, and it's actually all youth-led. So it came to the Youth in a Vision, so it's their 3rd annual, and I sit on the planning committee at work, because I work at Mawikwidong, but it's so amazing to see these youth, with a vision and just working so hard to make sure that they're organizing this, from the dancers to making sure we've got equal opportunity for our trans and our Two-Spirit and BIPOC folk for the vendors market. Like, it's just a really amazing opportunity. So I encourage individuals to come on out to that. It'll be a great time.
Rachel, thank you so much for coming on today and telling us everything that's going on in June, and we look forward to the big parade.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope it's a big success and there's lots of bubbles.
There will be.
We'll be back after these messages on Grey County Life on Rogers TV.
I'm Carolyn King, and I'm a member of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the creator of the Moccasin Identifier. Philip Cote, an artist in Toronto here, took and redrew real moccasins. We're starting over with the children. The idea is that they would research whose land their school is built on, near, or what treaty area they're in. And the educational kit that we have has all that information in there. And the children just, love it. My dream is that this province will be covered with moccasin identifiers within the next decade. And they will forever know whose land they're on. That's the goal. Educate and awareness with a nice, simple little program called the Moccasin Identifier.
He's, taking up some space, and just a perfect shot.
And we got a tie ball game. Nice low shot, right around.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV, and we have a very special guest in the studio today, one of my favorite places in Owen Sound, the library.
Oh. We have Tim Nichols Harrison, who is the CEO and Chief Librarian of the Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library.
Yes.
Ooh.
It was written in my contract. You always had to say the whole thing.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to have a chance to talk to the two of you.
I know. We really wanted to have one last conversation with you before Rhonda and I finished up our 1 year term that turned into 5 years.
Well, you've done a phenomenal job of sharing the community with everyone and telling so many stories. It's been great to see. It's going to be weird to not see you on TV.
It's going to be weird to have nothing to do on a Wednesday morning.
I don't know. We just might come and hang around the doors or something. No, it will be certainly a great show coming up in the fall, and we're really looking forward to the new hosts and the freshness that they're going to bring to Grey County Life. But we really wanted to have this opportunity, Tim, to connect with you and all the great things that are happening at the library. It's not only is it an anchor in our community, but it's a hub. I mean, so many things are happening at the library. You could engage the entire library area of folks. There's always something for everybody.
Yeah, thank you. That's really wonderful. I think it's that people do understand the library is a hub, right? And so it's a place that people automatically go to and look to for resources and support. But even more than that, it's our opportunity to amplify what's happening in the community, you know. So there are so many wonderful things, and that they connect to us and allow us to be a part of it and to share what's happening makes it work. And you know, whether it's the boardroom being booked or the auditorium or all the different types of programming, some of them we initiate, but lots of them it's because the community's come to us and said we want to see this happen at the library. And that's really fantastic for us to get that chance to showcase what everyone's doing.
One of the things you mentioned that you were wearing a green shirt today, but the new open card is green as well.
It is. It is. And actually our new library webpage, we're working consistently with that green. It's a little different than this one as part of our new branding. So we've used a different green in the past, but that's the one that we're working from. We went to it when we started to look at the open card and looked at possibilities, and then we have our new webpage. If people haven't seen it, www.libraryosngupl.ca. It's a great site, has all kinds of things on there, and I'll be talking about some of those things, but go and take a look at the website, especially that's where our newsletter is. Handheld prop. It's where our newsletter is, and you can really find out about all the types of programming that are happening. Back to the open card. Wow. We saw, especially with COVID, our numbers dropping off, and one of the challenges for the community as a whole was how to re-engage, how to get people involved. And we were really fortunate to work with the Tom and the Billy Bishop and the Marine Rail at that time to say, can we do more together? Because the people are the same people, you know, they're not different people. What can we do to help them? And we came up with the idea that, similar to what Aidan Ware at the gallery had experienced in Cambridge, why don't we have a shared card? And so our library card became the open card. And now people have access to use the library, use all of our resources, borrow things, but also access the Marine Rail, the Billy Bishop, and the Tom. And we're just seeing wonderful results from that. Our membership has increased over 2,000 people since the end of COVID, so we're very pleased with that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's amazing, because not only is it a space? I love the new look. Well, it's not new now, but you know, we were in that 2.5-year bubble thing where people were not actually able to use the library in the same way. Going in and seeing this very bright, colorful space, and then into the Carnegie, which is very traditional with the fireplace and that sort of thing, and then the youth department, which has just exploded with activities for our youth.
Isn't it great? Yeah. Our staff throughout the building, but youth services as well, just fantastic staff coming up with great programming, great opportunities for the community, and also things that you can borrow from the library that people may not realize. Like you can borrow jigsaw puzzles and board games, you know. So there are, and much more, binoculars kits and ukuleles, and so we're seeing that people are coming in and accessing some of those resources as well.
Well, I think with the escalating costs of just about everything in our day-to-day lives, I didn't know, I mean, I do know, I did know, but I didn't know previous to that you could borrow all of these different kinds of items. I mean, jigsaw puzzles were all the rage over that 2.5 years. And so now you can borrow them from the library.
Yeah, and a Wi-Fi hub, so if you need to travel or do something, you can access the internet. That's a program we've been really pleased with. Chromebooks, so people can take a Chromebook home, and that was especially helpful during COVID, but we're seeing that as well. It's really nice being able to extend our services to those type of things, and then of course all of our digital content that a lot of people don't realize what's available, and then the programming. So there's a huge amount of programming that's happening at the library or that you can access now with your open card.
Well, I really like the new look of the newsletter because it has great graphics and a little blurb about the event, and it's, you know, adults, teens, youth, babies, you know, I mean, you know, and the way it's set up, but it outlines, like, I didn't know you could just bring your knitting and have a little knitting circle, and you have what is it, the virtual book club or something. So for people who still are not comfortable going out,
you can do things at home, or you can come and see us. We even have a walking talk about books, so you can, if you're not feeling comfortable inside spaces, but you might feel a little more comfortable going for a little walk, you can come along and talk about what books you're reading, and that's a cool program that staff are doing.
Well, I think, as much as the pandemic was a downer for most people, it was also a time to spring into new ways of looking at things. It really made people think about, well, how can I do this differently and still provide services? And the library was just absolutely excellent in that capacity.
It was an interesting process because we had to continually relook at the service model and say what's working, what isn't, you know, and so sometimes there were things that were temporary, like being able to have the materials all pre-signed out and available in bags and just opening the door and handing them to people, to reverting back to the closer service model that we have now. And that was a challenging process, and I have to say it worked because all the staff were really versatile and adapting to the situation, and the public was very understanding that, you know what, we're trying our best to provide the services, and for some people it made a big difference in their life that they actually still could access books or DVDs and be able to use those resources at home, even if they weren't able to physically be in the building. So we've certainly had some comments over the time about how appreciative they were that we kept the service going as best we could. So
for some people, I think that is a lifeline. Those books. I mean, I have library patrons that, you know, if they didn't have their books, you know, I don't know how they would survive. And that's just on a regular basis. So for the group that count on that interaction at the library and that connection to their community. It was a huge undertaking. Yeah.
Well, I really like the staff. I know that you have the electronic sign in, sign out.
Right.
I go to the staff. I just want to chat because they're all so warm and welcoming. They do a great job. That's part of my experience when I go into the library is to make that personal connection because they do such a great job. And then I see other people who just want the digital and the check in, the check out, and they're really comfortable with that.
So let me tell you a story about that. When we went to it, it's a little bit different than some of other businesses where it's replacing employees. For us, it's an enhancement that we want anyone to come to the information desk or the CERC desk and be able to provide you with whatever support you need. But for convenience, if you take your stuff to the self-checkout, where we're checking them out one at a time, you can take 5, 6 books and just put them in, and they're automatically scanned. So it's different than at a shopping store where you're having to scan each one. You just set them in the box, and they're done. So people that are taking out a lot of material, like you're taking out 20, 30 books, you can do it very quickly at the self-checkout and be on your way. A more satisfactory response that way. As well, some people have a concern. I'm coming to the desk and I want to take out some material. I really want to share, like I know Tim and I know that we're confidential and we wouldn't say anything, but I don't want someone to see what I'm reading. For whatever reason, that feels more private to me. And so by having the self-checkouts, it allows people to say, you should be able to take anything you want from the library out because it meets your needs. Here's a way that you can do it and feel more comfortable if you have a concern. Again, staff-wise, all the staff are trained that whatever somebody takes out is confidential, and it's really not our place to judge anything that somebody is taking out. But just that ease of mind that, hey, I need to get this material and I don't want to make a big deal that I'm taking it out. That's another purpose for it. So the self-checkout for us is that value added. It's not that we want to take away. We want you to come and talk to us and tell us about what you're reading, ask for book recommendations, and look for things that you weren't able to find, because oftentimes people will come in, they'll look on the shelf, it's not there, and they'll go. And we'll go, oh, I wish we'd known. We would have shown you how to put a hold on it so that when it comes in, you get it. Or, oh, we don't have that material right now. We can get it from another library for you. Or we have an e-version that might satisfy you. So it's being able to have that discussion chat really helps us to provide the best service possible. Because the intent is we want you to leave feeling we met your needs.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, in terms of my personal experiences, that's always happened, and the staff have been always grateful. But it's like, well, seeing old friends actually. When I go back there, oh hi. So yes. Now, you have some author talks, which I think is really, really interesting, because not only do we have great authors within our own community, but, expanding out.
Yeah, can I talk about both those things?
Yeah.
So let me talk about the new service first. I don't want to forget the authors that we actually have coming up. So we now have subscribed to an online author talks, and so you join, you click on our library website, you click through to it, and you sign up. And there's actually one today. Mike Rucker, who's a professor, has a book out called The Fun Habit, and that he's going to be talking about the book. And so you can actually go ahead of time and submit questions, and your question could be asked during the session today. And he'll actually speak directly to you. And Rhonda was wondering about and be able to say, which to me is just fantastic. So that's today at 4. But this will be. Rewind, Jen. this will have happened, but there are more coming up. Next Wednesday, on June 15th at 2 p.m., Jamie Beck will be talking about An American Province, and Tenerife Dew, The Wishing Pool and Other Stories is Wednesday, June 28th. And the cool thing about the program is that you can actually access the earlier ones. Because, so when I just talked about the fun habit, even though it's over, you can click on it and watch it. So it's still available. And one of the things that we were excited about the service is that they are highlighting Canadian authors. So, so there are authors from North America. So that's a totally new piece that we're really excited to be able to bring big name authors, nonfiction and fiction, to you, to Owen Sound, and have them share their content. But then locally, some of the things just coming up in the next week, we have a phenomenal number of sessions around local authors. I just want to give you an idea. On Tuesday, June 13th, we have is that?
That's next week.
That's next week, yeah. We have Things That Used to Matter, 32 stories that were collected by Joan Beecroft. And it's everyone is sharing different stories about things.
Is she live?
Yeah, that's Tuesday, June 13th in the auditorium. So people can come and see that. On Tuesday, June 20th in the auditorium, we have local writer Rob Ritchie with his newest book. It's a great beach read. Fantastic. And he's going to be doing some writing exercises too. On Saturday, June 17th, our former poet laureate Lauren Best is going to be launching her new book of poetry at the library. And Dave Carrera is doing his science fantasy book in August. So check out the newsletter. We have lots of things coming up. In July, we have Blind Date with a book. Picnic edition, so you can come in and we'll have a book wrapped up. You don't know what it is, but you can take it away and read it.
I love that.
Well, that's how I met my husband. It was on a blind date.
Did you?
Anyway.
My parents met too.
Yeah.
Well, later in July too, I'm going to be doing a workshop for people interested in writing, talking about all of the resources at the library that can help you writing your book. So that'll be fun.
Wow. You know, it does, you spark the imagination, and to me that the library is the best place for that. It's such a great hub. We thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us what's happening. We're looking forward to a busy summer, I think.
Oh, thank you. It's been great to have this chance to come in. Again, www.osngupl.ca. Check us out.
Oh, awesome. Yes.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
We'll be back after these messages with more Great County Life on Rogers TV.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
Being stuck in your home during this pandemic also means you have a home. Waiting in line for groceries means you have money for groceries. The isolation, being broke and totally scared about what's next. I was feeling that before this crisis. People say we're in this together, but me, I've got no one.
Youth who have aged out of the child welfare system are in danger of falling further through the cracks because of today's crisis. They need your support. Please give today at helpyouthnow.ca.
Hi, I'm Sharon Skelly, host and community producer of Community Close-Up on Rogers TV. We're back in studio after about 2 years with some great programming. Join me on Community Close-Up, where we meet great people from groups and organizations around Owen Sound and Grey County. And remember, it's your community, so take part. Join us again on Rogers TV or online.
Lovely viewers, it's your host of On the Couch, Antoine El Hashim, reminding you to tune in for every episode of Season 9 of the longest running and most loved local queer talk show on Rogers TV. Check it out.
Welcome back to Grey County Life on Rogers TV for our favorite segment of the show, Renee with Adorable Adoptables. And we have a very special guest, and you may not be able to hear us over our special guest, but he is a looker.
I laughed when you said Adorable Adoptables because I was like, I'm not sure we fit that today. He's kind of like an alien. I mean, I love him.
Oh my gosh, Men in Black.
Exactly.
You should have a cigar.
Exactly, right? This is my buddy Ben. Ben is a face only certain people love and certain people don't love. He's also very loud and messy. He's like the perfect dog if this is what you love.
This is what you love.
He is Ben. On the overweight side. Yes, you are, which is not helping the breathing situation. When these little dogs have these squishy little faces, air doesn't get through the way we want it to. It is very common for them to be loud breathers, loud snorers, loud grunters, loud snotters. Yeah, that's you. I don't even know if people can hear me over him because of the mic. They are a very noisy dog. But in saying that, if he lost a little bit of weight, there would be less noise.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
You could make this better a little bit.
It can be improved.
It can be improved. Because
and that would be better for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hi. Now, Ben, as you can see, is the sweetest, most cuddliest creature, alien-type creature.
Yeah.
He loves love, and he would fit just about anywhere. He is needs a big lap. Yes, you do. He is good with dogs. He is good with cats. He is good with children.
He's just,
pardon me, could you just hold your breath for a minute? And he is well vetted and been well loved. His owner has gone to a nursing home, unfortunately, so she couldn't take him with her. But the good news is we're keeping in touch, and we know all of his history and all his little quirks, and we know all the good things about him, which is a huge advantage to his new owner.
Yeah. And she might enjoy some visits from Ben once in a while, which is kind of nice to be able to do.
It is definitely reassuring to her that we are a no-kill shelter and that we have a good following of good supporters, and we're glad that we could be there to help her. I mean, it's what we do.
Yeah.
Right? Hi, you silly fella.
Do you guys do the fostering where, you know, an animal can go into somebody's home for a little while until they find a home?
We do. We don't do it as often as other organizations. We use it for animals that are either needing medical care that require more TLC than we can give them. They maybe need somebody around the clock to feed them or medicate, in which case often it's us anyway, but yes. We also need it in cases of expecting dogs and cats because it gives them that 8 weeks where they're not in a cage waiting for their offspring to develop, which is nice, and gives the offspring socialization and attention which they need. Those are our primary reasons that we use it. Of course, if we had a dog come in and struggle, we would put them in we have a good support network, we put them in a place they could stay to be adopted from. But we find it's a lot more challenging for us to do adoptions properly when there's foster homes involved. They almost need to come back to go out because we can't send people to your home. It's really the bottom line without knowing them. And we can't have you screen them, and we don't want you to, and all the rest of it. So in saying that, we'll say it loudly because you're so loud. We do use it. We do have a need for it, but it's much smaller. We don't want to see the animal go out, come back, go out, come back, go out, come back to go home. The idea is we can do it often better ourselves, but we do need them, and you can always ask us. Right? In your case, we're just hoping you leave.
Find a spot.
Well, he is going to be adorable to someone. He is. There's people looking who are like, this is my favorite, in which case call me, because here he is.
Here he is.
Here he is. This is my favorite.
A happy,
a pug
loving guy.
experienced home would be great. And how about the 2 little puppies that were in last week?
We've been very busy. They have been adopted. Hooray. I've been super busy. We have lots still coming in. We have more puppies. Huskies, if anybody wants one. And I thought maybe they would come today, but this loud fella thought he wanted to come instead. Right? So maybe not. Hopefully not.
Let me in there.
Okay, you want your bum rubbed. Okay, we can do this.
Oh, he likes that.
Uh-huh, this is the good spot. Yes, it is. Okay. We should get him a whistle or something, and maybe he could play music or something. I don't know. Hey? I'm sure somebody loves it.
To get a dog to lose weight.
Yep.
Same idea. Exercise. Cut back on the food a little bit.
Absolutely. Now, something really fantastic that dogs have that humans don't have is calorie-reduced diets ready and waiting for them. Wouldn't that be nice if you could just be like, oh, this is my meal, and it's less calories, and I don't even have to think about it.
Yep.
Let the product do that for you. You can feed the same amount of food with less calories. The dog doesn't notice. It's perfect.
They fill up their belly.
Great for all of us.
Yeah.
You can eat this donut and you're eating less calories. You don't even know. Wouldn't that be amazing?
I'll take 2.
Why hasn't somebody done this for humans? Yeah, right? And of course, more exercise. He is going to lose a teeny bit of weight just with stress. Sorry, buddy. But it won't hurt him. The idea is exercise, reduced diet, and a weight-controlled dog food. It's really not as challenging as you think for these guys. Yeah, just feed them less. No more cookies, no more treats. Oh, gosh, no more treats.
I wonder your thoughts about human food as opposed to dog food.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people say, oh, it's food scraps. We eat it. Why wouldn't it be good for the dog?
Yeah, I feed them. Oh, people just started swearing at me because I hate to waste food. That's the bottom line, right? It's expensive. If something died, feed it to something, right?
Yep.
I feed it, but not as a sole meal. They get my leftovers. They get the stuff we're not going to eat after it sits in the fridge for 3 days and we're sure we're not going to eat it.
Yep.
But in saying that, don't use it as a sole diet. And also, I mean, for 2 reasons. Number one, it's not covering everything. It's like us, right? We need vitamins because we don't eat 10 servings of vegetables a day like we're supposed to. Neither will they. The other part to that is you can't control calorie intake like you can with the already proportioned food. So somebody like this really shouldn't be eating it because we have no way of knowing how much calories he's consuming.
Yep.
Additionally, it's not good for dogs who have allergies or sensitive stomachs. You can really throw them off. Turkey, for example, really hard to digest. Pork, really hard to digest. You got to know what you're feeding and use it as a treat. Or you can give them really bad poo, which is a whole other thing you don't want to be dealing with.
Yeah. We always seem to go there for some reason.
It always comes back to poo. My life is revolving around poo. I cannot help it.
I know.
It's always about poo. But in saying that, I mean, in the occasional scrap, I personally don't. Oops, I touched my mic. I personally don't have a problem with it. In moderation. Everything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
You're putting hair on this pillow. Stop it. It's all good.
So, is there a particular dog food brand that you like?
Ooh, I like to tell people to know where you're going to shop and buy their better product. The reason I say that is it's really difficult to find a Performer Trim Pet Value specific food, for example, at Walmart. You won't.
Okay.
You will not necessarily find an IAMS grocery store brand in a pet store. It really is difficult for your pet to digest new food every time you buy a new bag. You run a huge risk of bad poops, but additionally, they can get a lot of stomach upset from that, especially if you feed something for a period of time and then abruptly switch.
Right. So consistency is your biggest friend.
Know where you're going to shop.
Perfect.
And go with their higher brand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're
well,
welcome.
thanks, everybody. We will see you next week on Grey County Life on Rogers TV. Have a great week.
Bye.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
6,423 missing threads.
One for every hate-fueled protest and social post.
From just the first 3 months of